It was a trip I did to France 5 or 6 years ago that I really fell in love with wine. My name's Angus Vinden. I'm a winemaker and vineyard at Vinden Estate. My parents came up here in the late 80s, early 90s, and they bought the property here. Putting the vine guards on the vines, that was probably one of my earliest memories. Must have been about 10 or 12,000 vines, so I can remember doing that as a 5-year-old with Dad. Ironically, Dad never really wanted me to be a winemaker. I don't know if he actually sort of said those exact words. It was always his passion, but it was never his primary employment. The barrel room that they used to have was probably about those 10 barrels just there, maybe 12. It was after doing 2 trips to France and romantically fell in love with the notion of wine and the idea of creating something that takes a year. You're at the mercy of Mother Nature. So that's also the fun of having great vintages against bad ones, because when you have those great vintages that you really recognise how good the fruit is, and it's more of a custodial process where you just look after everything. The best thing about grapevines is that wherever you plant them on every different soil and how you manage them, they will produce a different flavour. It's not whether one site's better than the other or what makes the Hunter Valley better or worse than another region. I think it really is an expression of place, which makes the Hunter Valley different. I was working for a gentleman called Glenn Howard a few years ago, and he really took me under his wing. Really fantastic to have such a great mentor. They've been on that property for 8 generations. There's not many families that really have that sort of history in the Hunter Valley. He took a plunge with me, showing me my first couple of blocks, and we've gone from taking one little parcel of Semillon and one Shiraz to most of the hill of Shiraz, all the Tempranillo and a large section of Semillon. We've taken Modelo, and hope we might do some Chardonnay as well this year. I think these wines are absolutely amazing. There's such great colour, there's structure, there's tannin. It is a special place. Yes, it's home. If I was born in the Barossa, I'll be speaking about that place in the same way, but this is where I was brought up, and so I have an intrinsic love to where we sit here, so I guess that's why I love the styles of wine. The techniques I use, I inherited through my father, and a lot of it's done by hand. There's a really nice quality to open fermentation. You can really keep on top of the ferment, so anything that, if there's ever an issue with the ferment, you can smell it straight away. I can hand turn them, which is really enjoyable. To make good wine, you have to be obsessive. Every one of these barrels tastes differently, so they all require a different touch. Sometimes I'll need some air, sometimes I'll need this and that, and some barrels look great and you can leave them in longer. Some barrels you'll rack and blend, and some just look actually beautiful from the get-go. There is a craftsmanship in wine because every time you do it, you learn something new. Before vintage starts, I have a concept, what I would like a certain wine to be. Obviously, you can't push things beyond their boundaries. You still have to take into account region, varietal and site, and I sort of try and put that concept into action through the process of making wine. It's nice to actually sit back and look at a wine from where I want it to be to what I end up as a finished product. And every wine I make, I put a couple of boxes aside, 6 bottles, 12 bottles, and the ones I really like, maybe 24, because I'll probably go nick a couple in the coming years. It'll be lovely to go back and look at those wines and read through my notes and how exactly I made them and go, you know what, that was one of the best wines I made. So I can come back in 20 years' time and go, we need to go back to doing that little thing which we used to do.